Welcome to a study of Paul's first letter to the Corinthians. Lesson 7. Meats sacrificed to idols and the rights of an apostle. 1 Corinthians 8, verse 1 through chapter 9, verse 27. First of all, let's look at an overview of these two chapters. I believe that these chapters continue Paul's response to the content the letter the Corinthians had written to him. I base my conclusion on the fact that if the subjects dealt here did not arise from the letter, there is no reason for Paul to bring them up at this point in the letter. There's no train of thought or anything. It is just rather arbitrary. So I assume this was mentioned in their letter to him. First section, meat sacrificed to idols. 1 Corinthians 8, verses 1 through 13. Let's look at the historical and social background of Paul's treatment of this subject. Almost all the meat offered for sale to the public in Corinth had been slaughtered and processed by the Guild of Butchers, members of which were affiliated with the various pagan temples in the city, and thus the meat had first been offered to a pagan idol. An unknown amount of it was sold by the various temples, and the god or goddess was supported from that sale of meat. There were at least two major parties in the Corinthian church with differing ideas about how to deal with this situation. One of the parties we could call, with sensitive consciences, abstained from all publicly sold meat. The other we could call the party of the more enlightened consciences ate meat unless the person serving it made a test of their faithfulness to Christ over the meat. In any case, the believer must take into account the impact of their behavior on the person serving the meat. The spiritual development of other believers must carry more weight in making decisions in these matters than does the personal feeling of the individual members eating or refraining from eating meat. And then Paul jumps to a completely different subject, the rights of an apostle. 1 Corinthians 9, verses 1 through 27. Paul opens this section by emphasizing that he is a genuine apostle with all the rights, responsibilities, and obligations that the other apostles have. He does this because his behavior had caused some of the Corinthians to question whether Paul was a real apostle or not. He chides them for doubting his apostleship, because if he was not a real apostle, they were not really redeemed from their sins. He then cites the standard Old Testament commands that instructed the people of God to financially support their religious teachers. However, he hastens to personally decline such financial support. He does so to be free to preach the gospel to all kinds of people. As his personal sacrifice to help atone for his early persecution of the church, so as to have something to feel proud about and as a personal self-discipline. Thank you, and have a good day.